this meeting order. This is our Board of Commission work session, Monday, October the 10th at 3:30. I'm gonna do a roll call first. Mr. Burst? Okay. Mr. Pope?
Present.
Mr. Lucas?
Present.
Mr. Barnard?
Present.
They all here. I'm gonna ask David, who would lead us in prayer before we start.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the beautiful weather we've been having. Pray, Father, you be with the farmers of our county as they get their crops in. We pray, Father, that you be with the commissioners today as they go over the business of the county and help them to remember, Father, to keep the best interest of our citizens at the forefront of their thoughts, and that they always rely on you and your wisdom in making decisions. Be with us all, Father. Bless us as you see we are in need. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a guest speaker on Mr. George Barnhill, District Attorney. If you would come up.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is sort of an issue that came up. It's actually been coming up for several years. We've known it's sort of coming, and it's sort of it's not at us right now, but it'll be here soon. And trying to deal with things before I go out of office, December the 31st. 39 years.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Well, thank you for putting up with it. Now, I talked to Scott about it. We have a program in our office very quickly called the Victim Assistance Program. We've worked very hard. That program's been in effect for about 30 years. Throughout that time, we have funded it primarily with a CJCC, that's the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, grant, which is federal money funneled through the state. It's handled by the governor's office, a division of the governor's office, executive branch. It is an 80-20 match fund. Now we have 5 positions under that. I was able to get one additional position that's 100% paid that they came out with a couple of years ago. The 20% match over all these years we've been able to make out of our 5% fine surcharge. My location is disarmed. I'm not sure what that is, but anyway, a list of events has occurred. Primarily, the state of Georgia, in an effort for criminal justice reform, is now letting a large percentage of felons off without paying their fines or the surcharges. And I think this is one of these things where a group got together and they're trying to reduce the total felon load in Georgia. Their solution was to, we made a large number of crimes misdemeanors back a few years ago. Now, we were still putting people on probation, as they say, on paper, probation and parole. Now that they want to terminate them early so they don't have to supervise them. I don't agree with it, but then I'm not in Metro Atlanta. Apparently the State Chamber of Commerce says this looks bad for the state of Georgia. The issue with it is called bid dates, behavior incentive dates to cut people loose. And what they're doing is that if on most probated sentences, if you make 2 years without the problem, they just cut you loose. And they're cutting people loose without collecting the final bit of fine. They want them to pay their restitution, and the inmates have all figured out they can pay the restitution and not pay the fine. They're tacked on in Georgia are a number of surcharges. We are not the only program affected. I know a couple of y'all at least are prior law enforcement will recall there's the clerk's retirement fund is a surcharge on fines. The sheriff's retirement fund, surcharge on fines. The law enforcement training center outside of Forsyth, Georgia is paid for with a surcharge on fines. They've added a surcharge, I think, for the brain and spine injury. There's an overall surcharge of 50% surcharge on all drug cases that goes to help pay for the drug task force that covers various places around the state. So all of these are now feeling a pinch, and we're seeing a pinch that our collected surcharge money, there's a 5% surcharge attached to fine money, and that surcharge fund is dwindling. We still have money in there, and the grant is still going. We just talked to them Friday. We're supposed to get another, the money comes in, it's a reimbursement grant, one of these very typical federal grants. So that all's going well, but I had reduced it, the 5 people on the 80-20 split, I'd reduced that to 4 a couple of years ago, basically to save 20% of the 20, otherwise take one person off, so 20% savings on what we were spending out of the 5% money. But sometime soon, the county is going to have to address this 20% surcharge lack, that we're not collecting money in that 5% money. It's not us, it'd be fine with us to collect the money, but the money is collected by the state pardons and parole and state probation, which is now combined to call
Community supervision.
At some point, the county is probably going to have to put some money into that fund. And by county, it would be the 6 counties that make up the judicial circuit. Ware County makes up about 1/3 of that. That's about 30%. Rough numbers, the 4 small counties are about 40%, Coffee and Ware about 30% each. And this was more just to kind of let y'all know. I talked to Scott. Now, in the interim, the other thing, Ware County is our administrative agency. This was set up by Judge Holton back when Dean Strickland was the DA. I don't know which of y'all can remember when Dean was the DA. It was before my time. I went to work for Donnie Dixon, June 6th of '83. Dean had just gone out of office in December, but I've known Dean. And actually, Dean did a great job for this circuit, setting up 2 or 3 programs that have held out to be, should be a model for the state. But not to get too far into that, this is how we fund the office. We get, most of our salaries are state paid, but the circuit has to pay for our housing, has to pay for our, office supplies, that kind of thing. We run a pretty tight budget. We run a cheap budget. I'm very proud that we pinch our pennies pretty well over there, I believe. But this is going to address it. And as I go out and as Marilyn takes over as DA, I didn't want this just to dump into her lap, this 5% money. Now, in the interim, something the county should consider, and something I would propose, and I've talked to Scott about it some length, the 5% money that we get, this victim's 5%, it's a surcharge on fines. Historically, we have divided that with other agencies, and those other 2 agencies are the Child Advocacy Center and with Magnolia House, the battered women's housing. And they both get 25% per year. We get 50% per year out of that fund. The problem is, as a state agency, the DA's office, we are not allowed, absolutely not allowed to raise money, solicit money, have a fundraiser, sell coupons, lottery tickets, Dancing with the Stars, any of these things. I think they have thrift stores, they raise money. Our program is limited to 1 grant by law, the CJCC VOCA grant, and that's the 80%, and the 20% that is, according to the grant, historically is paid by the counties that we serve. They allow us to offset the 20% that's normally within the match. Like I said, this program would have started back, Donnie Dixon was still the DA when this started. So the program's been in effect 31 years. It's just all that time before now, we've been able to pay it with this 5% money. That kind of makes sense. And I don't really have an answer for this. I don't know why the state has decided to cut people loose. They claim it's supposed to be better for business, but they want people off paper. Of my 39 years as prosecutor, approximately 25 of those years, the state of Georgia was #1 in the country, percentage of population locked up in prison. #1 in the country, percentage of population on paper, that being either parole or probation. We have seen substantial decreases in the prison population. We've dropped down, the last I've heard, we're down to like #8 eighth of our, as far as population locked up in prison. But we are still number one on probation and parole. So, this is an effort by the state to try to reduce that number. They don't want us to be number one on probation and parole. I mean, like I said, it's not here today, but very soon the county, as y'all are our administrative agency, this county commission is our administrator, at least for the 5 counties. Back when Rick Curry was the DA, we came up with a plan to let Coffee administrate their own office. That works as a bargain, actually, for the rest of the circuit. Coffee pays for an assistant DA and a secretary and housing on their own. Y'all got any questions? I wish it was better than this. You won't have to see me much longer. That's pretty good. But I mean, and it's not immediate. This isn't something that requires y'all to do anything right now today. We do have a governor's race coming up, and I feel quite sure if Stacey Abrams is elected, you're going to see a far greater push to cut people loose on probation, which is going to reduce. And this isn't something, like I said, that is this program plus any victim program around is going to be addressing the same things, this reduction in fine surcharges. Any of the circuits around us, the DAs are having the same problem, the same issue. If y'all got any questions or want me to try to get up some paperwork, I'll see what
You don't got anything?
The 20% you're talking about, state first 80%, well, the victim assistance, the surcharge is 80% and the 20% matching. What does that come up to? What's the budget for that over there?
Oh, man. I have to get it.
I don't know. Do you know right off, Beverly?
For just the victim advocacy?
Yeah, the victim program, we run to run our currently 5 employees, it runs for about $200,000 a year budget.
I transfer between 14 and 15.
And then, so
Thousand.
basically,
Yeah.
I wanna say something in there like 190, then you take that and divide it 80-20.
Then you take the 20 and divide that by
And then 20,
2/3, 1/3.
Yeah, Ware County's responsibility would be
30%.
30% of the 20,000.
So you're not talking, what,
No, it's not a lot of
$6,000 to $7,000 a year?
I know, but I don't wanna just leave this for Maryland. I thought I'd come on over here and y'all could be mad with me.
George, let me say something.
Sure.
I thought we were going to see about stopping the payments.
Well, that's one of the things right now. We hand out 25% to Magnolia House and 25% to Satella House. My suggestion would be that we look into stopping both of those. And the main reason is, those are both good programs. There's nothing bad about them. They're excellent programs, good people. But they raise money from any number
Blue
of ways.
Cool's the money.
I used to be on the board with Satella Advocacy. I think, as of just 2 or 3 years ago, they did like 5 different grants. They have, they've got money in 2 different trusts. One that came, I think, from the old Monroe Hospital Foundation, and the other one from a doctor that was a pediatrician and left him close to $1 million. I mean, they sit on a lot of money. Our program, we
Spend it.
We spend it, basically. We're not allowed to raise money. We're not allowed to take donations. Danny Martin could come in here and offer to give us $1 million. I would have to tell him to give it to the county. and then we would have to ask. You see what I'm saying? We're not allowed to, we don't have separate accounts. I mean, our program is our program. And this is something that I would like y'all to let's get the wheels looking at. And I'm sure you want to give them an opportunity to come tell you they need the money. I'm sure they do. But their programs are not mandated by law. The victim assistant law that runs in my office is mandated by law to have. And if we fail to do it, Chris Carr, the Attorney General, has the right to prosecute you.
You take 20 years ago, there probably wasn't, I think Tammy was the only person that was working, victim assistant, wasn't she?
Started out as one person.
And you got 5 to 4 now?
Actually, if we're fully staffed, it would be 6. But right now we're running 5 because I keep one vacant because I'm trying
So
to.
what's the cause?
What's changed? The program has changed greatly. Back when Tammy did it by herself, she kind of sat in and helped with murder cases. The program now, we are required by law to send a notice to every single crime that has a human victim, which that means there's no drug cases have no victim, traffic cases have no victim, but anything else, thefts, violent crimes, murders, we have to send notice of every single hearing date, every single trial date. You have to explain to them the court system. We give them a bunch of paperwork. They can apply for, under the CJCC, they can apply for funding to help offset medical bills, offset doctor bills, offset funerals. That funding is increased greatly. So we guide them through that, help them file applications, help them get the money through those programs. So no, the workload has increased
So
greatly.
all 5 of them, they work out of this office here, or they spread
Got
out
one
in
in
different
Douglas,
counties?
one in Douglas, and the other 4 over here. One of them is dedicated for what they call post conviction. And her job, that's, I think it just switched around. I think that's gonna be Diane Davis in that starting this month. But that job is to stay in touch with people after you're convicted. As you can imagine, say somebody committed aggravated assault or a sex crime and they're in prison, and you have to stay in contact with the victims throughout their prison, the course of them being in prison, let them know if there's a parole date or habeas filed, the outcomes of those paroles, habeas, outcomes of any appeals. And even though we're a small office, it generates a surprising amount of work.
So George, the program is not your office just doing be good citizens and do what you think is best. The state has requirements that you have to follow.
Yes, this is the victim law. It went by the name Marcy's Law briefly, but Georgia had an early, when we ramped up was during the Marcy's Law ramp up, which, and again, Marcy was a girl that was murdered by her boyfriend in California, just so happened her brother was a dot-com billionaire, and he started this thing around the country, Marcy's Law, Marcey. And it was, we were already doing most of it in Georgia. Some of the things they wanted were a little weird. We didn't adopt, but we did ramp up the amount of victim notification, and certainly way ramped up the amount of post-conviction, after conviction, dealing with victims. Used to be when we got through with the case, we closed our file and we were the prosecutors, we were basically out of it. And a lot of that went over to probation and parole. It now seems to fall more and more on the district attorney. But like I say, the funding out of that 20%, they allow us to use that 5% victim fund. In our circuit, we split that. I don't know if y'all, because that's been in effect so many years, but my suggestion as I go out of office, and I'm sure it would be not very popular with either one of those 2 groups, and I'm friends with them, but they're not required by law. I mean, they're good programs, but there's no law that requires them. There is a law that requires our program.
So what steps do we have to do if we done away with it?
Just vote. I mean, it's one of those things that I think it got voted on probably 10 or 15 years ago. I know when Rick was here, they moved the amounts a little bit. It used to be a third. We moved to 50%, 25, again, to address funding shortages within that 5% victim fund. But now it's just dwindling because the state no longer is actively trying to collect those surcharges.
Scott, what do we give to each one of them?
It's not much. What was the last one?
It
That was checked.
depends how much money we have coming in, but it has been less and less. There's some months we send a check to both of those agencies for maybe $100 or less than $100 each. And then there's some months we might send $1,000.
How's it based? I mean, what criteria do you use to pay them?
It's
That
25, 50.
Yeah, that 5% fee that's coming in,
Okay.
that's what we put in the bank, and it's usually not that much. What, $3,000 or $4,000? It could be sometimes a month, and that's from all the surrounding jurisdictions that we collect from.
See, for instance, out of the 5 counties, you take, say like Pierce County, we get a check from Patterson City Court, Blackshear City Court, Pierce County State Court, Pierce County Superior Court. You go over to Alma, they've only got the city of Alma and
Bacon County.
Then you go to,
Waycross Municipal.
like Waycross Municipal now, Waycross State Court, they keep all of their money. We don't get anything from Waycross, we don't get anything from Waycross State Court.
Why is that?
Joseph, years ago, when Mike Devane was still the solicitor, they set that up to pay one of their secretaries for their own 5% money.
How can they do that when the state's required it?
I don't know. Wasn't there, don't know, didn't sign the papers, but, my understanding it was approved and it was done. But that was back before Marcy's Law went into effect. So it varies. You go like to Brantley County, there's no state court, but they have a super active probate court. So in Brantley County, we get money from Hoboken City Court, Mayhunta City Court, Brantley Probate, and Brantley Superior. Folkestone, one of our better money producers is Homeland City Court.
Really?
Keep that in mind on the way.
5%.
Oh, yeah.
How about 5%?
That's 5%.
That's them speeding tickets right there before those.
It's 5% that is a surcharge. So if you were going through Folkestone and the Homeland Police Department were to stop you and you got a $50 fine, then you would have to pay, in addition to that $50 fine, there's a series of about 6 surcharges you would pay. One of those is a 5% surcharge for victims. There's a surcharge for sheriff retirement, clerk's retirement, law enforcement training, and the spine and brain trust. If it's a drug case, there's an additional 50% surcharge. It goes back into training and to this drug case. Georgia, that's the way the state of Georgia has funded a lot of things. I'm getting off subject, but I think you're fixing to see. If the state continues not collecting fine money at probation, you're going to see some shortfalls in all of those programs. Just my prediction. So like I said, what I'm looking at, sometime in the very near future, y'all are gonna have to address the local split. And I'm not against these programs, they're great programs, but they have all kind of ways they can raise money. They can have Dancing with the Stars, they can have a rodeo, they sell Boston butts, they sell that $10,000 raffle, they used to have the firemen versus the police softball
tournament.
Anything, we're not allowed to do any of that. All we can do is come to y'all. Like I said, I just didn't want this to be done. If it's coming, don't y'all wish everybody came to you and said this is coming?
Sir.
We have enough like it is.
Sound like everybody trying to dance off with a criminal instead of dancing with the stars.
I don't understand this thing about cutting them off probation.
Lord, turn them all loose.
I've seen some crazy things. There's a lot of people in this world.
A lot of people need turning loose in there too.
I mean, I still wish we
Lot
had,
of
y'all remember the diversion program out there at the old hotel? I always thought that was a great program. Why'd they do away with that?
I have no
It's a
idea.
great program.
Because it worked.
It worked.
It worked. Probably why they did away with
You
it.
know, it got people back into their customer working, but anything I can help you with on that? I'm just a bundle
Yo.
of opinions.
If we could just get the numbers over the actual, what we're looking at
I
over
mean, I
Scott.
think we get some numbers to you, but at some point, we're gonna have to address how we split this money up. And, cause if it would be up to y'all to continue the current split, but then we're gonna have to come up with some local money to help offset it. Cause we have to have the program. It's a unfunded mandate, semi-funded, 80% funded. And we, you know,
I don't think we can put no more on the taxpayers,
well, sometimes when they pass a law, it's in
Yeah.
God, who's God. Anything else? Thank y'all for letting me come over here.
Anything else?
Thank you. I
Happy
appreciate it.
Columbus Day.
Yes, sir.
People forget Columbus's best friend. Who was that?
Yeah.
Ponce de Leon.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
Let's go to the agenda items. Request to approve contract with Taylor Business Services. Who's gonna explain that one?
Mr. Chairman, this is the contract from, excuse me, from the bid award for the personal property auditing services for Trailer Business Systems, services, excuse me. And this is the contract to formally execute by the commission.
Okay.
I don't see no price tag on it nowhere.
Well, it's
Well,
based, it's really just based on the
That what we-
size of the accounts, like they're on page 3 or 4? Page 3? Yeah, page 3. And if I read it correctly, the Board of Assessors, correct me if I'm wrong, Board of Assessors, will choose the accounts to audit, isn't that right, Joyce, based on how this reads? So there's a certain number, but that's basically you're paying on a case-by-case basis based on the
And don't we
accounts.
need to have a cap? I mean, they might say, well, we got so many to spend $1 million on it.
Yeah,
I mean, we need to have a cap, I believe.
I believe
yeah.
there is a cap there, over 20 million, it's 4,300.
Joyce, will you come up and
Yeah.
explain to us how many you think we ought to do?
I mean, this company, they can come in here and they can do all they want to do. I mean, they get paid per partial, ain't they?
They get paid per account.
Per account?
It's different math values.
How many
based on
do
the
you
size.
suggest we do? I mean,
Well, I suggest we do all of them, that'd be what's fair.
I
all of
mean, you
them?
got, how many accounts
I
are
don't have it with me.
Good grief.
there? I mean, before I vote on anything, I want to know about how many we gonna do.
Yeah,
I mean, this could break the county for that good. If you got 1,000 cases at the number 6 class at $4,300 a piece,
I don't think we have even that size. To be honest with you.
You don't think those out there at Industrial Park are that size?
$20 million.
Isn't
GATA.
it so many per year from each thing and the
It's an annual.
contracts over 2 or 3 years? So you're looking at about 120,000 a year maybe,
Yeah.
is what I estimate.
And I think when I talked to them last week at the conference, they want to start with cell towers, which is where there's a lot of money that's missing from the counties. So they wanna get that out of the way and go ahead and get the lion's share going in. And then we'll go from there.
So now, is this money that we as a county have to pay them? Or is this what
Yeah.
we're gonna tax the business and get reimbursed on?
What do you?
no, we got to pay that over.
No, it's part the county pay out, and then we'll recoup our money when the taxes are paid.
But whatever tax money they find, the
Yeah.
county gets to keep.
Mr. Burris won't talk. Go ahead, Mr. Burris.
Yeah, and I guess this question will be to Joyce and Billy, and, based on what I've read, you know, with this contract with Traveler, basically whenever they go out and do the audit on, I guess the properties or the industries that the assessors pick, to see if they're really, I guess for lack of a better term, paying their fair share, which if they're not, and if, like I said, the cap based on each audit, per audit. So if they go out and say do 10 audits and say it come up $50,000 or whatever, but if that, as a result of those audits, it generates the county $200,000 or $300,000, $400,000 more, then I think that would be money well spent. And the only way we're gonna know that is if we do these audits. If not, then we just keep traveling like we are now. We don't know if we get what we right before we get.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
How many accounts do you think you got?
I'm gonna roughly guess and say about 3,000, 3,000 to 5,000.
Joyce, do you think there's that many of them that's
Out of whack?
out of balance? There's a lot of them out of balance.
I hate to say it, but yeah, when we started this program before, there was a lot of accounts that was like way out of whack, stuff I wouldn't have thought about. And you'd think everybody would report everything accurately, but they don't. They write same as last year.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be the same as last year. It's gotta change somewhere. Especially like a store that has inventory. They're not gonna have the same inventory every year. They're not gonna have the same equipment every year. The cash registers break. You got to get new ones. Computers break, you have to get new ones.
It's all on personal property.
Not to mention, the state ordered it.
So you've already determined the number of counts to turn over to the audit?
I'll have to run a report. Once this is approved, I will run a report for them again, because Jasmine may have added new accounts, because we are actually working in 2023 already. So I don't know what account she's added. Then I'll send the list of accounts to them, and we'll have a list of them, and then we'll do the breakdown.
So when will you know that? Or is it an ongoing change in number that moves along, or do you just hand them a list with a certain number of counts? That's what you audit? That's what it does?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can you report back this, say every couple months, let us know what kind of money it's costing us?
Yeah.
For we can keep an eye on it?
They'll send me an audit report every month.
Just make sure we're getting our money's worth, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
And the state requires this, the state,
With the consent order, yes.
this was part of that whole consent order.
How's the other audit doing on property, real property? How's it looking since that company started their work?
We'll start to work,
They hadn't started yet?
they're putting 6 people on the dirt in about 2 more weeks.
Or they hadn't started yet?
They got some, they held up a little bit, they're finishing up in Coffee County right now, and they're in the latter stages of Pierce. So they're running about 2 weeks behind what we thought we'd be, but it looks like that they'll probably get maybe 5,000 parcels probably by the end of the year. So that's kind of where we're at, it's probably about 5.
So that's a little over
pretty
half.
good- That's pretty good numbers in about 2 months, 2.5 months.
And they physically gonna go to each one of these properties and look at it, or not gonna sit at the house and get on the computer and look at
No,
Google
there'll be
Earth?
pictures of the front, the rear, all the accessories.
They gonna take new pictures and everything?
Yes, sir. Everything will have a new picture. They'll be out in the field and take a picture right then and load it.
Cause I know at my house, if I built it in 2000, it still got the original pictures from 2000 before I put the sprinkler system in. It ain't been updated. I mean, the price goes up every year.
Didn't go up more because of that sprinkler system.
20 years old.
Yeah,
I don't, what kind of,
Only question I got is, if I'm understanding this correctly, we're talking about business owners here on this.
yeah,
And the property's business owners, and there's several business owners sitting up here. They pay taxes on this property when they buy it. And they pay taxes,
Sales tax.
they pay sales tax. So now, if I'm understanding this correctly, they're gonna have to pay taxes because they still own the property.
Exactly, and that's been mandated in Georgia law for longer than I've been in this business. And like I said, we attempted prior administrations to do what we were supposed to do by law, and basically purse strings were pulled, so it's that going. So it's just like George said, the cost to operate anything is gonna continue to go up, and revenue that you are due, you need to be collecting. It's your responsibility and our responsibility to do what we're supposed to do, to collect what it is, because the ones that are paid are not due to pay somebody else's or someone else. So, and that's kind of what happens when you push a program that the law mandates you to do, and you don't collect money from them because you just say, no, we're not gonna pay. It's gonna cost you to get anything done. It don't matter what it is, put a road, red on road, ambulance, whatever, but you got to be able, you gotta pay to get what you're supposed to get. and be what you're supposed to do for the rest of the taxpayers, because you're taking care of everybody. Everybody's supposed to be paying their fair share and doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And I think that's why it's confusing to me, because like when I go down to Walker Jones, if I buy me a new car, I pay all my ad valorem all at one time, and then all I pay the tag office is that $20 a year, you know?
You know what that was done for? That was done for the state to collect all their revenue up front.
Right.
That was what it was all about. Do away with the birthday, tax. We can get all this revenue up front, and we got money to sit on, then we can take the $20 a year.
This is mostly for bulldozers, backhoes, equipment in shops, anything like that.
Restaurants.
Personal equipment, restaurant, anything, any kind of equipment. Okay, it depreciates out. You either 5, 7 years, whatever you put on it, whatever your accountant puts on it. You pay taxes on it, and then it depreciates down. And you're saying that some of them is not probably depreciating out too quick or whatever. I don't know how they do it.
They'll look at it and see what shape it's actually in.
Elmer's got a D8 bulldozer, it's probably what,
50 years old.
Does he still pay a personal tax on that thing?
If it's depreciated out.
It does not, according to Georgia, it does not depreciate totally out.
They don't completely,
It depreciates out, but then it may be worth something. And they may, that's
Well, see,
really
that's what's
talking about
confusing to me
Ware
is-
County.
Because it's still, just cause it's still worth something, why do you have to pay taxes on it again, I guess? Cause we're gonna be asked these questions by the business owners now.
Every year.
And they're legitimate
It
questions.
ain't, a lot of them don't like it.
But when you buy something, you buy it one time, you don't buy it year after year after year after year. You buy it one time. But now, well, if I'm hearing this correctly, you're gonna be paying sales tax on it every year.
Yeah.
You're not paying sales tax,
it's
you're paying
inventory
personal
tax.
property inventory or equipment tax.
So I mean, the next thing the state's gonna wanna do is they're gonna wanna come in there and pull out my underwear drawer and tax my underwear.
They've been doing this.
It's just like boats and stuff.
I think this here,
50 years, this ain't no new stuff.
You take like a boat over $7,500, you had to pay inventory
We're
tax
forced to
on a
get in the
boat.
program, and you're forced to do what we shouldn't have been doing, that we tried to do before, so that's the way it should be. It's every year, like I said, if you run an insurance business out of your house and you got a computer and you're turning your computer and your desk and whatever it is, that's fine. Your computer first year is gonna be depreciated 33%. It's gonna be down to that 20 in 2 or 3 years. When you replace it, the other is salvage, you get rid of it, it goes off the books. When you scrap it, then you buy a new one, it's based on what you paid for on cost. And then, like I said.
And we pay that when we buy it.
That's right. You pay sales tax in, you're not paying, this is not sales tax. It's no
Is
different
that
than
the
property,
wrong
no different than property tax. When you bought the house, you paid tax, but you do pay property tax on your value every year. Like I said, that's been the law, period. So on both types of property.
And I'll say again, next thing, they're gonna be taxing our clothes that we wear to work every day.
yeah, if they ain't wore out yet.
You have to buy them at Walmart.
That's underneath the $7,500 is in.
If you got them in the closet, they'll tax you for them.
Well, they ain't gonna come in my house without a warrant, I can tell you that.
Well, that's what we fix to do.
Now, let me throw a
Let
snake,
them go look at people's personal property.
if it's okay, can I throw a snake in the pond here, Mr. County Manager? Cause I had a steak with a gentleman Friday night that told me there is we're talking about a $20 million business. Well, I'm talking about close to probably several billion-dollar business, and y'all know what I'm talking about right here in Ware County. That he sat right there at that dinner table and told me that he knows for a fact, pulled up his phone and says, we have not paid y'all taxes in 3 years. And bragged about it. And this is a $1 billion business.
Who is it?
CSX.
They pay taxes every year.
Not on every piece of property they own.
Oh, yeah, for that is governed by the, state. County don't have anything to do with that. Public utilities handles all of that.
Well, this comes from
We
one of
don't,
their employees.
Ware County don't even set the values on CSX property, that's down to public
Go down there and
utilities.
talk to the tax commission, see if you got a check from CSX over last year, or the year before.
About
They get
4
assessed
million.
notices just like y'all,
We
just
get
like everybody else does.
property, equipment, railroad property, it comes to my office every year, so it's automatically deposited into our.
About $4 million a year, what it used to be.
How much?
About 4 million a year, what it used to be seen like.
That's not what we get. Now, it may be split up between.
I mean, he told me
don't know
that
how it's
Friday.
split up, but I know what we get, and that's
I
not
just
what we
told.
get.
These
Okay.
side by side you see around the $14,000 salary, are they paying personal tax on that? Just because they're not
They're
legal?
they're not business machinery or equipment. If they were being used on a business, they would probably.
I'm talking about personal. Say if I had an $18,000 side by side, would I be paying personal tax on
If they tagged them, you'd be paying that delivery tax for a tag on them. And they've talked about that before, but they've not passed that yet.
it? Yeah,
The
thing
golf
over.
carts or the side by side, let them ride on the highway and collect the tax. That's nothing that the legislature is pushed anymore.
Okay.
Okay, how y'all wanna do a
Well,
verification of program? How you gonna
So, Mr. Manager, you need a motion?
do a
Yeah, but we'll do
verification
that,
on
we'll
it?
do that in the regular meeting, but all we would need is a motion and a
Right.
second to vote. Just
Carry
to
it
approve the
over.
contract.
just carry it
We'll
over.
carry it over, but what do y'all, I mean, any more discussion on it? How to do it?
I mean, it's simple. It's gonna have to be done. I hate paying out the money, but we're gonna have to do it. Be fair with everybody.
Yeah.
Is this one that's got to be done?
It is
There's a law
pursuant to
says
the
that we
consent
gotta do
order.
it.
You either do it or they'll fine you each and every year.
Well, it's part of that consent order that we got from the state,
That we would lose that revenue if we didn't.
$125,000.
Yeah, okay. Let's put it on, we'll go, carry it over to vote on it.
As the old saying goes, you can run, but you can't hide.
That's right.
Yep.
And I'm sorry if I spoke out of turn on that steak dinner. I want everybody to know that. But
B,
that was a big employee there. He was pretty high up, so I kind of took him for his word, so.
B. Proposed ordinance revision, Article 5. See,
Mr. Chairman, we were bringing this ordinance back. There was some discussion at the last meeting about driveway pipes.
yeah,
Primarily for residents and
Primary.
primary residents, yes, sir. And
Okay.
Gene made some changes to the one that we had, that we modified before, and is bringing it back. The only thing that's in here that I believe you mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, over on page 3, at the bottom,
right,
it mentions that, in this, and this probably need to be discussed, it says the county will not be responsible for replacement of asphalt or concrete pavement removed for pipe replacement. And somebody, or maybe two of you, mentioned something about putting concrete back if you saw cut it. I don't know, that says,
if it is a paved if the driveway is paved, we should put it back in.
yeah. Well, that's what right now it states that we would not, so I'm just gonna let y'all know to see how y'all wanted to put that in there.
Well, how else would you fix the pipe if you didn't?
You'd have to cut it.
You'd have to cut it.
Yeah,
out.
Cut
if
it out.
you cut it, take it out, and if the pipe went bad and the county installed it, shouldn't they fix the
Yeah,
driveway
if you're
back
taking it out,
to what it was?
yeah, the only problem that's kind of like that question is if the county put in metal pipe and it rusts out and it has to be replaced, the property owner had the concrete poured on top of that pipe.
After the pipe was put in.
After the
it was
pipe was put
finished
in.
and everything.
Correct. So in this case, the property owner would have to put it back themselves the way it's written now. So that would be something that you all would discuss to find out if you wanted that concrete or asphalt or whatever else is there.
Yeah.
Could be riprap, whatever, that stuff could be pushed back.
This ordinance is just for replacement, not putting in new pipe.
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
Replace
Yep.
the pipe that's there.
And that applies only to, primary residents.
Primary residence,
Primary residence,
not no businesses or nothing like that.
that's correct. No commercial, retail, or any business like that. It's just only, primary residence. And the other part of that I was gonna mention too is, that the property owner would have to have their property taxes fully paid at that point in time.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I saw that in there. Okay. All right, anything on it? Any discussion on it?
Well, we need to hammer out if we're gonna replace the cement and asphalt, or are we gonna leave that to the owners to do?
Well, if he's already paved it, assuming there was a good pipe over it, I feel like would've put his cement and his asphalt back. Cause
Well, my
he's
question would
already
be
spent
is
the money on it.
I think.
How
we
would y'all
kinda-
want y'all's done?
I think
If
you
you already
kinda,
had yours paved out to the street and the pipe went bad.
I think it needs to be on a case-by-case basis.
I think case
Well,
by
that's-
case basis.
That's right.
I mean,
Because some of these pipes has been destroyed by four-wheelers and other things driving into ditches and that kind of stuff, and not because of natural reasons. I'm all for natural reasons. If we put in a metal pipe 30 years
Right.
ago and the thing rusted out, fix it back the way it's supposed to be fixed. But if it was somebody else, you know, even the grandchildren or whoever destroyed the pipe, why should we replace a pipe somebody else destroyed?
Right.
So that can be determined by the engineer. If we're at fault because the pipe failed, then that's one thing. If four-wheelers, cars, trucks tore it up, it's different.
18-wheelers
So let
driving
the
over it, collapsing
engineer
it.
determine.
if we replace the concrete and asphalt, what are we gonna do if you got a driveway that's got a big, nice brick drive entrance across it and everything? Are we gonna tear all them brick down and get brick mason back out to replace all of that?
No, we ain't doing that.
Well, if you
wouldn't.
start replacing concrete, you're gonna have to fix his cement, fix his brick nice.
This would be only on the county right of way.
Yeah.
If it was
width
on
of the-
Steve
of the
Barnard's,
ditch.
we'd sure want it, he'd want it fixed.
Oh, I can't afford that anyway.
Yeah, there are some people, I've seen people that close to me have wanted the county to replace these big old
Yeah.
entrance ways.
Most of the time, the metal pipe they rust out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's hardly, there's a few cases maybe where somebody's damaged it or run into it or something, but usually it's just, they wear out, they rust out.
Aren't those things made like spirals, kind of like a screw? Why can't we just get one of them plastic ones and just
Screw it in there.
screw it in there?
Slip line.
Things probably that deep in dirt inside.
So, always hard to determine on that.
So what we gonna do? We gonna fix them back or let the owner?
So change the wording so the engineers determines it. We need to address it. Need to have it on the agenda, however y'all want to do it. Whoever makes the motion can determine it.
Okay,
Yeah,
put it on the agenda.
we just carry it over there and we'll make a motion on it. Put it on the agenda. Okay, C.
Mr. Chairman, Commission, this is the resolution that the commission, for the commission's consideration to continue the imposition of the regional T-Splosh. It was originally planned for that regional T-Splosh to go to 2028 for 10 years. And the way the collections are going, they're much higher now than what they anticipated. And this will start the process over again like it was before. There's 18 counties in the southern Georgia region, and it would take 10 resolutions turned in to start that process. And I put a, excuse me, a timeline in your packet there that kind of tells you exactly how the process will take place, all the way down to the referendum on in May of 2024. And the reason they're starting this now is so there's no lag in that time period for collections. So once the first one ends and stops, it will continue on with the next month.
Okay. And that's on the regional,
Yes, sir. This is the regional
this is the
T-Splosh.
regional.
Yes, sir.
Everybody know this is not the local, this is the regional.
Yep.
9 counties, okay.
And if they get 10 resolutions, it starts that process and no county can opt out. Once that light switch is turned on, everybody's all in.
Then this will be in the election of 24,
Yes, sir, May of 24.
May 24.
Yes, sir.
It'll appear in 24. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Any discussion? Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Burris.
Yeah, and I just like to know for clarification, and I talked to Scott, this is not a new tax, it's just a continuation of an existing tax that we already have in place.
That's right.
Yes, sir, that's the one we have in place now.
Continuation of the regional. 18 counties,
Yes, sir.
18 counties.
Ware County, Lowndes County, Tiff County, and Coffee County are what's referred to as donor counties. And that's where the highest revenue proceeds come from, is those 4 counties, Lowndes being the biggest.
Okay.
And them 4 gets probably the less taxes of anybody.
Pretty much.
These little small counties.
It's not
is one that-
proportionate, I can tell you that. It's, some small counties, really rack up with what they get out of that pot.
Right.
Yeah.
Equal.
And not only just the projects, but the discretionary money too. So they, if they rack up with a number of projects and get the discretionary money like we all do, they'll come out well ahead. That's usually why the small counties go for it. 'Cause
And you told me a while ago, we've already got, what, $3.5 million discretion money, $4
yes, sir,
million?
it may be a little bit more than that now. Roughly about 3.5. Yes, sir.
Trying to meeting right now, yeah. Keep coming along.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I have one, according to your chart here, Scott, December of this year is the first, what they refer to as a roundtable meeting. That, as far as you know, that will consist of county chairman and municipal mayors, right?
That's correct, yeah.
That doesn't include, the 4 of us can't sit at the round table, only the chairman.
That's correct, yeah. You can attend the meetings,
Right,
you actually
attend the
sit on
meeting,
the
listen.
outside, but the
Right.
chairman and the mayors are in the table there in the middle.
So it'll be up to the chairman to represent Ware County.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Ron? We'll carry it over. All right, now, the next one. 2022-18.
Yep, this is a resolution to authorize the submission of the Georgia Department of Transportation Public Transit application. And this goes through the regional commission, and we have to have this authorized to apply. It's just a formality.
All right, you got any discussion on that one? Anybody got anything on it?
This is your little bus that runs around, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's okay.
Don't cost the county anything, do it?
It don't, no.
No, so far it hadn't.
Comes out of the region.
They were, they're, I think, 2 years in a row.
I think so.
I think it's 2 years in a row we hadn't had to put any money in it.
It's got Ware Transit on the side of it.
Oh, good.
It seems like if we did ever get to that point, it's a small amount.
Very small.
Okay. Anything else on it? That,
Carry it over.
all right, we'll put it on the agenda. Okay, E, discussion and possible action concerning Walnut Lane extension.
Mr. Chairman, I put this on there. There was some discussion to bring back some information on this extension, proposed extension project of Walnut Lane. And based on what the engineer gave me, paved roads now are running about 900,000 per mile. And then did the calculation, and it came out to about 125,000. But that's a little high on the end up, and just for contingency reasons. And I put a map there in front of you. You can kind of see where that proposed road would be laid out.
What kind of change order could we give that bridge? Could we go 25%?
Yes, sir, because I think that's like 3.4 million for the contract. And
Could we ask him for a price on it?
yeah, we'd have to ask him for it to see if we can get that back from him. Yes, sir.
What do you think about that, Steve?
What's that now? I'm sorry.
Ask the contractor for a price on change order.
Put on change order for Kettle Creek project?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Cause it's asphalt.
I don't
The
know if you
streets
can get
around
a
it are
bid on
asphalt.
it. You might, it's a pretty small job for. Might have, or would it be better to ask for bids on it?
Well, with the, change order, you could do it that route. With that small of a project, I don't know if you get much interest, unless you had a group with some other things, but
Right.
might be worth just talking to them to see if they would give us a change order on it.
Could we, let Brandon ask for a price on it and come back to us on it?
Have we got another project we could do a change order on if we had to, if these people don't wanna do it?
Don't know of any, not when they're using asphalt material.
How about out at Osborne Lane, all of them, what they putting out there?
That's surface treatment.
Yeah, he could do it.
Okay.
All right.
But I can, if you want me to, I can get with Brandon and, see about asking for a change order and see if they'll grant one.
Okay. Y'all agree with that? Okay.
Needs to be done.
All right.
So this property would have to be condemned?
I don't know, I think. it would
No, I
be
think
fair to deed it
they'll
over.
sell the property.
They will deed it to us. Okay.
I think it actually used to be a dirt road through there, didn't it? It stopped.
I don't think that.
I raised it right around the corner from it, I'd never been a dirt road through there.
Anything else on that? Not, we'll carry it over. Okay, F, appointment, Waycross, Ware County Planning Commission, post 9. And I think they said, we have one, Mr. Parker wanted to be,
Judge Parker.
he, says he'll take it.
Yes, sir, he has.
He said, he did mention to me that he was interested in it, if
He's
you all
interested.
would consider.
Let him have it.
100%.
Any
Let him have it.
discussion on it?
Carry it over.
Suits me.
Okay, carry it over.
Okay.
All right, got any commission items?
What's the latest on, Wing Clay, Tanner Lane?
They are supposed to
Supposed to
start, the clearing this week, maybe today, I believe, but I haven't heard. They were supposed to let us know.
Greg, you see anything going on out there today?
On wind clay, I saw a trailer sitting out there in wind clay, just a trailer, flat trailer, and, something like a bobcat sitting in the woods.
Yeah.
And on the Tanner Lane side, I've seen some barricade fence, sitting room closed, down at the creek. I guess they get ready to start.
Yeah, they're supposed to stake that side and start clearing the other side. And I thought they were gonna start today, it may be tomorrow, I don't remember exactly, but it's first part of this week.
Okay. Any more commission items? County manager report.
I don't have anything, no, sir.
Ain't got none? Okay. I hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Yeah. Okay, got a second. Motion. All right. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Be back at, what's 5 o'clock, ain't it? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.